The WNBA, this has to be the most pathetic professional organization I have ever come across. This has to be the most unprofessional organization I have ever come across. This league would definitely not succeed without Adam Silver saying, here's more money, here's more money, here's more money, here's more money. Without David Stern saying, here's more money, here's more money, here's more money, here's more money. This league would be gone. And that's what happens when you don't need to think logically, when you don't need to think like a business, when you can continue to put activism at the forefront because daddy's going to continue to pay your bills. You're allowed to get off the rails. You're allowed to say whatever outlandish stuff you want to say.
Even Angel Reese, who rarely misses a moment of drama, was taken aback by the WNBA's recent punishment of Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever. Is the league exposing its true bias? Or are we simply witnessing a live episode of how to alienate fans in 10 games or less? Either way, it was spicy, chaotic, and unintentionally funny. If you're not watching for the basketball, stay for the plot twists.
It is embarrassing. It's absolutely embarrassing. It is absolutely embarrassing. And the fact is that originally it's, oh yeah, you know, we're looking towards everything. Then they had to double down. They actually redacted this statement. They redacted a statement. They redacted the statement saying we're looking at everything, saying, no, we're actually not looking at most of the stuff. We're looking at a lie spread on social media that went viral. We are looking into a literal lie spread on social media that got spoken into fact. We're looking at a lie.
Let's discuss this lovely mess that is the WNBA, a league where genuine rivalries are labeled as emotional transgressions, competitiveness is viewed as a liability, and passion is discouraged. Picture your favorite sport, then blend it with HR training slides and corporate PR handbooks, then add a Pinterest quote about kindness, and welcome to the chaos. In one corner, you have Caitlin Clark's flawless, elite basketball IQ performance, a walking highlight reel. In the other corner, Angel Reese appears to have mistaken every game for her own WWE entrance, complete with trash talk, stare downs, and enough showmanship to host a Broadway revival. If you agree with Caitlin Clark, leave a comment below, and I stand with CC.
Okay, so I didn't hear anything outside of the run-of-the-mill booing. But the WNBA seems content to follow through with this ridiculous investigation. Who is the WNBA going to let control their pocket strings, their pocketbooks? Because it seems to me like the new fans are the ones that's funding this whole league now.
Thus, this is the scene. In the WNBA, where intensity is now ostensibly illegal, Caitlin Clark does what she does best, makes a clever, clean, strategic play. It's aggressive, yes, but nothing you wouldn't see in literally every competitive league on the planet. But her play suddenly makes headlines, not because it was dirty, but because someone noticed something.
We make up about 70% of the fans overall. Otherwise, yesterday's game would have been watched by about 400,000 people, maybe. It probably got watched by what? Upwards of 2 million? I mean, does the WNBA want to lose Caitlin Clark fans?
Fans yell and fans scream and fans try to do anything they can to diminish their opponent's ability to make a bucket. And I think that it's very hard to really understand or really interpret this sound that way. At least for me, it is. And I'm really, really, really hoping that the WNBA did not just announce an official investigation based on internet hearsay and outrage.
Naturally, Angel responds as though someone just keyed her car in the parking lot, and Clark simply walks away in a cool, collected, and bossy manner. However, guess who grabbed the headlines? It wasn't Angel who escalated. Rather, the league chose to come down and wait for it. Fans of the Indiana Fever.
Want to know why I'm so angry about this? I'm so angry about this is because how many kids are there in that audience? How many kids are there? And I'm sorry. I'm cool with idiots online branding me as whatever they want to. But when it comes to innocent kids who just want to watch their favorite team, favorite players play basketball, and thankfully they're going to be oblivious to this. But I'm sorry, you're branding kids as dangerous. You are branding kids who are just enjoying their game, who are having the time of their lives watching this league as dangerous. This league does not want to grow. This Players Association do not want to grow. Neko Wumake, don't criticize.
According to the WNBA's logic, devotion now equates to misconduct. Thus the fans, those crazy criminals who had the audacity to jeer after their star player was singled out, are turning every cheer into a liability and every passionate moment into a public relations disaster. The league seems to want each game to have a tranquil atmosphere. Just clapping and mindfulness exercises, no shouting, no rivalries.
These people are writing emails because they're so emotionally unhinged. They're so emotionally unhinged. They've never been checked a day in their life. Their parents allow them to act like fools with no repercussion, with no consequence. Always being acquiesced to every little complaint, to every little need, to every little this, to every little that. They're writing emails to get the Indiana Fever.
This might have been the WNBA's big break. The plot of Caitlyn versus Angel has been handed to them like a silver platter, and it's making a ton of money at the box office. Instead of capitalizing on the tension and building it up the way every other successful league in history has, the WNBA chose to throw caution to the wind and ask everyone to keep their voices down. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark has unintentionally become the league's Rorschach test. Depending on who you ask, she's either the savior of women's basketball or some legendary villain who ruins the game by being good. If you see greatness, congratulations. If you see a threat, perhaps you're just not prepared for what true talent looks like. If you dare to defend her, enjoy your time in WNBA exile, where nuance is prohibited and logic is outlawed.
4 hours ago, we had a situation that shook the earth. That is Caitlin Clark putting a flagrant foul on Angel Reese, and that foul arguably was probably one of the most transcendent moments in Caitlin Clark's career. To me, that moment there showed the world that Caitlin Clark wasn't bracking down for nothing, and she wasn't scared to get in the mix when it comes to protecting her teammates and stopping somebody from making a basket. Well, many other Angel Reese fans have rage war against Caitlin Clark fan base by saying racial slurs online. And me personally, I'm staying out of the racial stuff as of right now. But for them to sit up there and lie and say that Angel Reese again called racist names during the game, I had somebody from my team sitting right behind Chicago Sky bench. Wasn't nobody saying nothing about Angel, man.
Let's not forget how this began. There was a real basketball game, and after a solid play, Angel reacted as though she had been personally insulted. The response was to punish the fans because, when in doubt, you have to respect the WNBA's consistency and avoid criticizing Angel Reese or addressing Kathy Angelbert's selective silence. Angel's antics are just emotions, and her over-the-top post-game behavior is passionate. But if a few fans yell, boo, in a tone that is a little too assertive, pull out the citations and clutch those pearls.
6 or 7 of their players have been called racial slurs for an entire day, but they're on the Indiana Fever. They don't care about those players. It's only certain players. The WNBA players, they don't want Caitlin Clark, and it's very clear. The WNBPA releasing a statement is the most embarrassing thing I've seen, because you know what? When it comes to the Fever players, it doesn't count. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. The WNBPA said something. And you know what? Their stance is clear. There's no place for hate unless it's towards Caitlin Clark or her teammates. Then it's fair game. They have made that point abundantly clear, and it's embarrassing.
This league acts as though competition is an act of aggression, and that allowing rivalries to flourish is a threat to their kumbaya image. For example, every player should leave the court with a smile on their face while singing friendship songs and exchanging smoothie recipes. However, fans don't want a pastel-colored group therapy session. Instead, they want edge, fire, and passion, and Clark vs. Reese provides all of that on a silver platter. So what does the league do? It punishes emotion, suppresses fire, and attempts to sterilize the most exciting matchup they've had in years. It's like watching primetime TV and watching Weather Channel reruns. The league ought to be grateful to Caitlin Clark for making the WNBA relevant again, and not making her into a villain for daring to compete at the highest level.
They lost sight of reality. They lost sight of what real sports is about. The fans at the Indiana Fever game yesterday, they were being fans. They booed, they cheered, they screamed, they yelled. That's it. the Angel Reese fans, the old guard, the lowest common denominator that resides in the WNBA, the nose picker, the people that scratch their butt and don't wash their hands, those people saw that Caitlin Clark hard foul on Angel Reese, and they saw it as an opportunity. They saw it as an opportunity to do what they always do. Make it about...
Nothing screams professional competition like muffled enthusiasm and emotional regulation mid-dribble. Who needs authenticity when you can have an arena atmosphere modeled after a yoga studio? Let's talk about the punishment the WNBA handed out after the Caitlin Angel situation. Apparently, the WNBA has decided that the only feelings worth protecting are those of Angel Reese fans. Sorry, your joy and frustration are now liabilities. The people trying to actually enjoy the sport, the lifeblood of any league, are being told to tone it down. Angel recharged into the drama with the energy of a demolition derby, but the league's daring, groundbreaking disciplinary action was to reprimand Indiana Fever fans. Yes, because it is obvious that the true threat to public order is people jeering at a basketball game. However, spoiler alert, it's ridiculous. You would think that with all the coverage and controversy, someone would be held accountable in a meaningful way.
So as soon as I landed from Indianapolis, to LaGuardia, New York, I got an email in my inbox relating to a WNBA statement. And to be quite frank, I was surprised to see it. I didn't think these things would be a topic this year. It's certainly not at this point. But here we go again.
It seems that passion is now punished. What's next? Issuing tickets for loud clapping and limiting the volume of high fives? Given the current state of affairs, don't be shocked if WNBA games begin requiring spectators to sign a kindness pledge before entering the arena. This pledge calls for calm, regulated support that is approved by the League of Emotionless, and popcorn could be banned for being too crunchy and sarcastic. That's practically a felony in the current WNBA climate. The league acts as though it's one ironic tweet away from complete system failure, but this isn't about a feud between two players anymore. Rather, it's a sign that the league is so terrified of losing control of the narrative that they're squeezing the life out of it. Anything even somewhat authentic or spontaneous is erased in order to achieve a spotlessly clean brand image that appears to have been created during a mindfulness retreat in an HR department in Silicon Valley.
For one, let me put it out there, I don't believe for a second that Indiana Fever fans were yelling racial slurs where there were television mics down by the court. I don't believe it. They would have gotten thrown out of the arena. So don't let that narrative, it would be everywhere. Somebody would have it on camera. It would get leaked. It would be online right now. It's not. Everybody's got camera phones. We would already know if that was true.
This is a crazy idea. The WNBA's obsession with neutralizing everything that smells like drama is precisely why most of their games don't trend unless Caitlin Clark hits a logo 3. Instead of utilizing the natural electricity of a rivalry, the league pulls out the rulebook, points fingers at fans, and releases statements full of corporate fluff. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark is the only reason most of these matchups have a pulse. Perhaps fans enjoy rivalries because they crave that chaotic energy, because news flashes tension and unpredictability keeps people from dozing off during another 50-point slogfest. She's the headline, the motor, and the magnet, but the league is too preoccupied with stroking Angel's ego to recognize that their MVP moment is coming right now, and they're fumbling it.
There's a lot of tension going on online between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark fan base. The reality of the situation is, man, this is the reality for the Angel Reese fan. Angel Reese is not relevant at all as of right now for basketball. Angel Reese is a social media influencer. Her basketball career is diminishing right before our eyes.
Let's face it, half of these box scores wouldn't have made it past the group chat without Caitlin Clark. She is the reason why tickets are selling, merchandise is flying, cameras are even positioned at the court, and what is the league doing to foster this boom? They treat her fans like rebels and concentrate all of their PR efforts on keeping Angel from making any noise above a whisper. It's almost amazing how dedicated they are to ignoring the point.